Chapter 6. The 30-month mindset. The difference between winning and losing is, most often, not quitting. That's a quote by Walt Disney. Get to the point. It takes a lot of time to be known in your industry, perhaps as long as 30 months. Avoid thinking in the short term and get ready to be consistent in the long term. You can win with focus, consistency, and grit. As with anything, diligent practice gives you the best chance of getting results. Now, I'm pretty handy in the kitchen, but I'm not a good baker. Still, if I committed to baking a cake every day for a year, you can be damn sure that I'd make something delicious in 12 months' time. My early efforts would probably be like tough bricks that even the birds would think twice about before they started pecking. But the thing is, the delicious version of the cake has the inedible brick as its necessary ancestor. So before you can be good, you have to be bad. It's a phase that all content creators have to go through. If you can't accept the idea of ever producing an inedible cake, you might have some mindset work to do around overcoming perfectionism and imposter syndrome. That's not what this book is about, but thankfully lots of clever people have written plenty on such subjects. Try Ditching Imposter Syndrome by Claire Josa, for example. Mark Schaefer's book, Known, showed that it can take 30 months to become known in the right place and space for your industry. I was one of dozens of case studies included in that book, and by following Mark's teachings, I've managed to carve out a successful and sustainable business for myself. And in line with what's set out in Known, it did indeed take me around 30 months of hard effort to start seeing the kind of results I was after. I'm telling you this now because I want to put to bed any notion of there being some quick route to success. There's no easy button for your marketing. And yet a common problem I see with a lot of my copywriting clients is that of impatience. They commission the writing of a few blog posts and then assume that this will magically get them to the top of Google with plenty of juicy leads to match. Or they commission a whole new website and then treat it as though it's a one-off project that gets done and forgotten about. The internet doesn't work like that. Any positive effect that comes from a short-term action, such as the creation of a new website or a small set of blog posts, won't last long unless you also have an ongoing strategy for adding new and valuable content for your audience. Search ranking results come from building a content footprint on your website, fostering a community who will share that material, and then getting links back to your site from other places on the web. This takes effort and time, and most businesses aren't ready for it. We'll look later on at the kind of content you can create to make sure that your business remains relevant and superior for your ideal audience. I blogged inconsistently between 2014 and 2016. It got me little in the way of website traffic and almost nothing in the way of leads for my business. It's only when I discovered content marketing in 2016 that I started to buck up my ideas and understand that combining consistency and congruence was the route to success. Although I focused on writing as my strong suit, it became clear to me that the need for long-term commitment applied to all formats of content. Take podcasts, for example. For the uninitiated, they're digital audio shows, the equivalent of on-demand radio series. Often people get a bright idea, leap in, and then quietly bail out. The average number of episodes published across all podcasts is a paltry 7. Yes, just 7. That means that most podcasts barely get off the ground before they crash and burn, and that smacks of little or no strategic thinking. In contrast, the podcast creators who push through into the triple digits of episodes are the ones who win. My colleagues Pete Matthew and Janet Murray have each had more than 1 million downloads of their episodes of their respective podcasts. Did they start off with thousands of listeners? Of course not. But they stuck at it, and now wouldn't you trust that they probably know what they're talking about, given that they've published hundreds of episodes between them? Of course you would. The story is repeated with YouTube video creators, Facebook live streamers, and all other content creators. Consistency is at the heart of all good things worth achieving, whether it's baking a knockout cake or publishing helpful content that serves your audience's needs. Whatever your aim, you need to make consistency a habit. About grit. Mark's analysis in Known showed that everyone he interviewed had demonstrated a few key characteristics: focus, consistency, and grit. And I found the last of those words interesting, and it led me to the work of writer Angela Duckworth, who conveniently has a book of the same name, Grit. Here's a summary of Angela's recommendations. If you can put these into your business, you'll stand a good chance of being around for the long haul. Find love in your work. Isn't it great when you see a small business full of excitement and enthusiasm for what they do? We spend much of our waking hours trying to earn a crust. We need to find ways for it to fulfill us. Find capacity to practice. The best businesses are excellent at execution. You need a way to keep sharpening your blade, not only in the content you create, but also in the core service you deliver. Don't just be good, strive to be great. Find your purpose. Think about what's driving you at the root. Money alone probably isn't it. Why are you doing any of this stuff anyway? Clarity on your why doesn't matter as much to your customers as some people suggest it does, but it should certainly matter to you. Have a reason to leap out of bed in the morning. Finally, don't lose hope. Business is never plain sailing. Keep afloat. If you've plotted the right course, those choppy waters won't last forever. We're going to move on soon to define the content DNA for your business. Before we do, let's see what you can learn from the building blocks I've defined for my business. It's time to check out my content DNA.